Have you ever wondered why you haven't been able to get in on that big deal, on the brand new industry, on the new idea, on the concept that can change the market? Have you ever wanted to be part of something big, but just missed that opportunity because maybe you didn't have the vision to be able to see it, or you thought it's going to be a passing fancy? I've got something for you. As a matter of fact, what I've got is going to change the game of flipping ongoing. As a matter of fact, wholesaling, forget about it. It's gone. My name is Ty Glover, and I want to introduce you to a new concept. The concept name is called partnering, and it's going to change the landscape of how fix and flips are performed. So let me introduce this to you. There are so many real estate models around that talk to you about buying, fixing, and selling, or even going out, identifying properties and communicating them out, such as the We Buy Ugly Homes or any of these other business models whereby they collect the homes, they make them available for investors who go into those homes, who do the renovation, and do the sale of the home. Take out typically some very nice profits out of those homes. Did you ever think, however, about the homeowner side of the game? That's what Invest Out is all about. It's a partnering model, and what I'm going to walk you through will revolutionize the way that flips are being performed ongoing. So let's get into it. Let's start out with a wholesaling relationship. The wholesaler goes and identifies the property. They're looking all around, they've got their yard signs, or they're going for the for sale by owners, all these different ways in which they're trying to identify available homes. Okay, so let's say we've got a wholesaler. The wholesaler identifies the property. They do a purchase agreement with the property owner for $280,000. They're essentially saying, this is what I'm going to pay you for the property if I can find somebody else to buy that property from me. Okay. We also have the investor comes along. That wholesaler goes to the investor and says, Mr. Investor, I've got a deal here. It's a home, it's in a great neighborhood, it's valued today at $280,000. I'd like to get 20 out of it. The investor looks at the property, decides they want to move forward. So what's next? The investor identifies how much money is going to be required to renovate this house, to get it to a saleable condition. And obviously it's a matter of looking through the property, looking at what's available, what needs to be done, but you know the whole deal. We have to identify how much money has to be invested in that property. The next thing that comes along is the selling price. Based on everything that we're doing, what can we sell that home for based on comparables, market value, and so forth. So if we've identified that we've got $280,000, we've got $300,000 as far as the actual sale price from the wholesaler to the investor, and we've got $20,000 repair costs on a $390,000 sale price. That's the target. That's the after renovation value. That's what we're going to hopefully sell the home for. What else do we have? So coming out of this deal, we've got a gross profit of $90,000. Meaning that we've got the $390, we've got the $300 that was used to purchase the property, the $390 was the sale price, the difference, $90,000. Okay, what's next? We've got mortgage and administrative costs. Let's say $26,000, $26,600 on a 6-month renovation. Right now our $90,000 is down to $63,400. Let's say we do staging, $5,000 for staging, it brings us down to $58,400. So the property's ready to go, it's ready to be sold. What's next? Renovation costs. We didn't pull that out yet. Once we pull our renovation costs out, we're down to $38,400. That's what's left over for this investor once they actually work with that home, do the renovation, and sell the property. Okay. So now that we've done the math, let's look at our ROI. 74% ROI. That's not too bad. We invested $20,000 plus the additional $26,000 plus that $5,000 to buy that property, yields an ROI of 74%. That's not bad at all. That's something that most investors will go for. But let's look at things differently. What if we tried that partnership model? With the partnership model, things work a little bit differently because we partner, renovate, sell, share. So if we look at it, purchase agreement, price, wholesaler, $280,000. What changes here is investor's purchase price, $300,000, no more. That investor gets that property for $280,000. Reason why is because that was the deal negotiated with the homeowner, because the homeowner bought in, went directly to the investor. The investor was able to say, this is what we believe your property to be worth. If that homeowner was interested in that price with the flipper, we're going to assume that homeowner is going to take that same exact pre-renovation value. Okay, let's go next. So because we went with the $280,000 and not the $300,000, the investor did not have to purchase the home. Then we're now at $280,000, which means our gross profit goes up from 90,000 to 110,000 because we simply added the 20,000 that was lost to the wholesaler from the non-value added back into the gross profit, which can be shared with the homeowner and the investor. What's next? Mortgage and administration, it's a non-factor. Because the home isn't being transferred or purchased, the $26,006 stays in the deal, which means we had original gross profit of 110, we keep that original gross profit of 110. Next line item, staging. We're going to keep that in there because we had it in the buy, fix, sell deal. We're going to keep it right there in there. 105 brings it down from 110 to 105. Next line item, renovation costs. Of course we need the renovation costs because we performed a renovation. We bring that 105 down to $85,000. This is what's left over as far as a net profit coming out of the deal. Now, how's this distribution going to work? In this particularly negotiated deal, there was a 60-40 split with the investor negotiating 60% for that investor, 40% for that homeowner. How does this translate? $280,000. That is the homeowner's $280,000. Whatever share of that they're going to actually get based on equity they have and so forth, that's outside of it, but that's their $280,000. That goes back to them. Next, $34,000. That's an additional $34,000 that they're going to get as a result of the partnering process, versus if this were just simply that buy, renovate, sell, they would only be walking away with $280,000. Remember, this is part of that pull strategy that we talked about. This is why homeowners are going to be seeking out and looking for investors, because they want to go and walk away with more money when they sell their home. Basic instinct. Next line item. We all want to know what's in it for the investor. So while the homeowner is walking away with a combined $314,000, the investor, they're going to get their 60%, they're going to get the $20,000 back, which is what they used to perform the renovation, plus they're going to get an additional $51,000 for a return on investment of 204%. So we went from a 70% ROI on a flip deal to a 204% on a partnership deal. Numbers speak for themselves. Now, the reason why this model is set up this way is because we've taken a completely different direction from the standpoint of the way we're looking at the buy, fix, sell. Normally, in every single real estate model out there, you'll see that the investor's here. If there's a wholesaler, they're there. This is the orientation, which translates to investor-oriented, requires push tactics. The investor has to try to get more properties because there's not a lot of inventory. Think about it for 2017. There are only roughly 220,000 homes flipped across the entire U.S. by 138,000 entities or businesses. That means that there's a few, very few flippers out there that are companies that are flipping a lot of properties, and there's a lot of smaller mom and pops flipping only 1.56 properties, or even less, one property a year. That means that the inventory of property that's available for the investors, 1.56 is the average. There's not a lot of properties out there. So when we're looking at this, we're talking about investor-oriented. We're talking about requires push tactics. You've got to figure out how you're going to get more homes. How are you going to be able to scale if you've got such a limited supply of homes coming in? You've got parasitic alignment, because here, these investors or the wholesalers are going after properties. They're trying to find them, and they're feeding off of the properties that are available in the market in the limited supply, especially when it comes to those distressed properties. But what if you change the orientation around? Let me show you something. With the partnership model, we've realigned the whole process. We're not looking from the standpoint of the investor. Our focus is more symbiotic. We're looking at the total picture and what's in it for both parties, because we're getting away from that push strategy, having to go and find those properties, especially when it comes to those distressed properties that a lot of flippers typically work with. We're going after the more plentiful supply properties that are available in this 5.4 million homes that were sold last year, because everybody's trying to increase the value of their home. So look at it this way. Now we've got homeowners and investors. We're oriented towards both. We've got requires pull tactic. Now when we use our pull tactic, we set up our sales funnel, we do our marketing, we focus specifically on certain types of homeowners, because We don't want the homeowners that are distressed. We don't want the homeowners that don't have equity in the property. We don't work with the banks, and therefore what we try to do is we try to find the average homeowner who for whatever reason needs to get out of their property and maybe is unable to do so. Think about it from the standpoint of the big FHA question. A lot of homes cannot get mortgages on their properties. Reason being, there's a certain amount of repairs that need to be done on that home, and they just don't have the money to do it. That's typically most of America nowadays. If they don't have the money to do it, then what happens is those homes go up for sale, cash only as is deals, because FHA won't touch it. We're changing that game, which means that we've got a buy-in. We've got an opportunity for people to get into this model, into flipping, or rather we say partnering with a lot less money. Because a lot of homes may not necessarily need the full renovation, but they may need some work with the plumbing or with the electrical just to get them up to a level in which they don't have to sell for cash only, which adds a tremendous amount of money to the actual homeowner when they get rid of it, provides financial mobility. So that's the orientation. We're not looking at just the investors, we're looking also at the symbiotic relationship between the investor and the homeowner. So let's look a little bit further. That symbiotic alignment. Again, when it works well and when the partnership is there, both benefit. This is what we're talking about. This is our relationship. When we've got everything working together, then we've got the investors coming up. We've got the strong growth potential, negotiation skills. You've got an opportunity to be able to negotiate on every piece of the deal from the standpoint of what is that before renovation value going to be? What's the best number? What are we going to sell it for? What's that number? Capital outlay for the improvements that are going to occur. What's our share? What's the distribution of the share? How long is this going to take? So I appreciate you coming into this, checking us out, because this right here, my friends, is the way to go. Forget about the wholesaling market. That's going by the way of the dodo bird. Investors, flippers, this is the model that you should check out, and there's a call to action here. I'm looking for just 10 people to be involved in this program as our initial launch, because I want to be able to walk through each step and sit beside you and look at the numbers so you feel comfortable and so you can execute the process with no issues. So come to my YouTube channel, check us out, like us, subscribe, forward it on so we can grow this model, because the more people we can get to understand how the process works, the more realtors are going to come into the process looking for properties. And we want you as an investor to be the one who gets to tap into all the properties that are going to become available through the partnership model. Thank you again. Have yourself a great day. Cheers.